jigging. That's a freaking stud, dude. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's been a long time since I posted because I injured myself pretty badly. I won't be fishing for the next 6 to 8 weeks, and I got a crazy story to share with you guys at the end of the video. But nevertheless, in today's episode, we're going to be talking about how to use small swim baits like this to catch winter largemouth in some ponds and some lakes. Also, I had some audio issues. I had to buy a new microphone, so some of the spots are just going to have to deal with me doing some voiceovers, but hopefully I can provide you guys with some information to help you guys catch some wintertime largemouth. Welcome back to the channel, guys. It's a blistery 18 degrees right now, 14-mile-per-hour winds. I'm out here actually doing some deer hunting. I haven't got anything so far. I had a nice doe in my crosshairs, but it was quartered away and it was 90 yards away. This is my last morning here. I figured I'd come out here and do some fishing, and I can't think of anything else to throw other than this big Joshy, so we're going to throw this thing out here and hopefully catch some bass, maybe some crappie. I'd be happy to get at least one nice bass out here. It's just cold, man. I went hiking around some other spot for an hour and it was iced over. I couldn't get a cast in. I'm over here in a spot I caught a bass at last year during rifle season, so maybe I'll catch another one. Yes, dude. That didn't take long at all. We may have just found a decent little spot right here. I thought it was bigger, but I'll take it. Now, when I'm reeling in these baits, you could just chuck it out there and reel it in. But my first few casts, I let it sink all the way to the bottom so I could figure out how deep it was. And in this specific section, I was fishing a long stretch of rock wall. So I was casting this bait into probably 6 feet of water, and then I was reeling it in, ticking it right across the rocks on the bottom. And then once I couldn't feel them anymore, I would drop it down a little bit lower and then reel it in steadily and then throw in a couple twitches. I ended up catching 3 or 4 fish. It was weird because they were all different sizes. Usually when you find a school of largemouth, they're in the same class, meaning they're the same size range. But this little school that I found had fish of all sorts of different sizes. I caught a small dinky one, I caught a medium-sized one, and then I finally got into a decent largemouth bass. And just to be clear, I know this sounds like an infomercial for Big Joshy Swim Baits. I'm not affiliated with these guys in any way, shape, or form. They're just a local bait making company here in Ohio, and they make a solid product that I've been using for years. If you want to know more about the Big Joshy Swim Baits, I actually already did a really in-depth video, which I'll also leave a link in the description for you guys to check that out. We had a warm spell in mid-December and temperatures got up to 60 degrees. It was really windy that day and we had a lot of storms coming through, so I figured I would take these baits out and put them to the test in another smaller little pond. The very first catch of the day was the biggest of the day, and I failed to get it on my GoPro. We've been grinding out here to get these fish. I've tried A-rigs, I've tried big swim baits. Finally went to this little 3.25 Big Joshy on a 1/4 ounce head. Big old Ohio largemouth in freaking December, little over 19 inches. Beautiful freaking largemouth. Got another one. Feels like a big one. Decent one. Yes, dude. That's what I'm freaking talking about. Yes, bro. Same freaking spot. Look at that beauty right there. Yup. Hooked him right in the top of the freaking mouth. He wasn't getting off. Oh, dang. There we go. Look at that freaking stud. That one's every bit as big. That might be a little bit longer. Look at that. Awesome, dude. I'm gonna take me a selfie with this little guy. That's a freaking stud, dude. Got another big one. This one is 18 3/4. Big old large head. Be free. Has that got him a nice 17-incher? Right in the same spot where those other ones were. Good job, buddy.
December.
December bass fishing. What'd you catch it on?
Big Joshy. I think it's a northern tackle underspin, 1/4 ounce.
So there's a couple things to note about this spot that I'm catching them at. What I noticed was there's a shallow area off to my right, and it's about 4 or 5 foot deep, and then it drops off to about 12, and the wind was blowing from my right to the left, and it was a windy day, so this explains why these fish were staged on the backside of this little drop off, because I imagine the wind is blowing bait fish their way, and then they just hide behind that ledge and then scoot up and just smash the fish. One last tip for you guys: when you're reeling these things in slowly, just a subtle slight rod movement, a couple twitches, really short, really crisp, and then letting it drop down. That's what I found was actually triggering these bites, and it was pretty cool catching a school of fish that was 10-15 feet right in front of me. I fished everything bait fish related. Big swim baits, I threw big glide baits, I threw the A-rig, I threw the jerk bait, and nothing was working for me that day. And then all of a sudden I switched to the big Joshy, and I start getting into a school of some nice largemouth. When it comes to using smaller swim baits in colder weather, there's really no better bait than this big Joshy. I like the 3.25 and the 2.75. The special thing about this is the plastisol they used is kind of thicker, and the way they sculpted the body to make these swim baits makes it to where the action on the tail is super subtle. A lot of people use Kitech swim baits, but the plastisol that they use in those makes that tail kick really wide, and I'm just not a fan of that, specifically in cold weather conditions. But yeah, this bait freaking produced some really nice largemouth. Oh wait, I almost forgot something. The crazy story that led to my injury. All right, so I was deer hunting with my buddy. I shot a decent doe, and sadly it didn't die instantly. I ran back to get my buddy to help me drag it out of the woods, and I assumed that it would be dead by then. Ideally, you would want an accurate shot to get a quick kill. You don't want these animals suffering. So my buddy and I decided it would be best if we pinned this deer down, and I was going to cut its throat with my hunting knife. So we jumped on this deer. He pinned down the head, I pinned down the body, and as I was cutting its throat, I put a little bit too much pressure on it and wasn't thinking, and when my knife was out of the neck and cut through, I still had too much pressure, and I actually ended up cutting into my knee really badly. It required 13 staples. I quickly put a tourniquet on my knee. I didn't know how bad it was. Tourniquet probably wasn't even needed because there's no main arteries on my kneecap. But I'm really fortunate that I didn't cut my femoral artery, because I could be dead right now. But luckily I had a buddy with me. He took me to the ER. We got stapled up and we got some pizza afterwards. My buddy Rob is amazing. He went back to the spot with me. I waited in the car, and he dragged that deer out single-handedly. So that dude is a beast. I appreciate having friends like that, and I highly suggest when you guys go hunting that you guys bring a friend to help bail you out of trouble in the event that something crazy like this happens. So I'll show you some pictures of it. I'll make it black and white so it's not bloody and it doesn't get flagged by YouTube. But yeah, it was a crazy adventure. I'll be back fishing here in probably 6 to 8 weeks, and I got some really cool trips planned for you guys this year, so I appreciate you guys watching. If you like this video, please consider smashing the thumbs up and hitting the subscribe button if you want to see my ugly mug talk fishing stuff and provide some tips for you guys. I appreciate you guys watching. We'll catch you on the next one.